Okay, this is going to be the first in using the templates to cut up your leather to cover your recaro adapters. First thing I'm going to start out with is you're going to need to get some leather. Now, what I do is whenever there's a scrap car, is I will take out big pieces of the leather that I could cut up later. Like this was from the back seat of a 560 SEL, and you can see I cut up the leather there, and then you can end up with some pretty nice pieces of leather. Second of all is to know what you're working with. Obviously, anytime that you see a graining pattern here, it's leather, whereas if you see any kind of a woven pattern, you can see that this is vinyl. You can do it in either. Obviously, I think leather is going to be more durable. But the vinyl is very easy to work with. Now the templates are set up. There's an A, a B, a double A, and a double B. These are for each side. What I would suggest that you do is you lay out all your patterns and trace them out first. So here's an A side. So now I'm going to turn it over and I will do the B side right here before I cut it out. Again, the double A, turn it over onto a different spot, and the double B. That way you'll have all four patterns that you need. Now, depending on how thick your leather is, and there are some varying thicknesses of leather. As you can see, this one is very thick versus something like this, the Mercedes original leather, which is much thinner. It's also more durable, or pliable, I mean. If your leather is not really pliable, like it's not easy to move around, I would suggest using some by Color Plus. They make a softener. I would put that on, leave that on for a day, wipe that off, let it dry, and then do your patterns. So anyway, so I'm going to draw out all my patterns here, and you can see the major difference is the hole, which is where the seatbelt buckle holder is going to be. The biggest thing is if the leather is thicker, you're going to want to extend this out farther because it's what covers up in the front. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to trace out all of my leather patterns and then cut them all out. All right, so here's a cutout piece. Now you'll see that there's a notch in it. So we're going to start with this upside down. So this is the bottom side. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be lining that up with this center hole right below it. And as you see, that should come over. And now this isn't going to match up exactly at the end. And that's okay. Because what's going to happen is the other piece is going to go underneath and flap around. So right now what we need to do is we're going to need to glue right here and right here. And the glue I'm using here is 3M Super 77. I'm going to shake it up. Going to use this piece of cardboard right here to make sure I don't get a lot of overspray. Spray that down right there, and then spray that part there. Alright, so as you can see, I now have this glued on there, except not at the ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over. Okay, so this is how we're looking right now. So now I'm going to glue this piece right across here, and then this piece right across here. And then I'm going to be able to poke these out from the back, so I'll know where they are. Just because, again, depending on how thick your leather is, this leather is this thick, but of course there's leather that's substantially thicker. So again, using my piece of cardboard, I'll block this right here, spray that, and then I'll block right here and spray this. So by using this long bar, I'm kind of helping make it even after I glue there. So the next thing I'm going to do is glue here. And again, I'm still leaving these side pieces just out because I'm going to loop them around after I'm all done. The clamps were from Harbor Freight. This aluminum piece, I think it makes enough to do like, it's huge. It's like 3 foot, and it was like $5 from Menards. And these clamps are Harbor Freight, and I already showed you the glue. All right, so with the last part, which is here, I glued there, and I also glued underneath, and then I used the bar to just hold down the underneath one, rather than the up top here. I know the next question is going to be, why am I going to do this side that's on the inside? The problem being is because this, however thick your leather is, which as I said, it could vary. There could be much thicker leather than this. But you need to get it the same on both sides underneath here. So your carrier's not like cattywampers. So that it's the same, you have the same amount of cushion underneath both sides. Plus, you can see it from the inside, so you might as well make it look nice. Anyway, keep in mind that I still, all these holes, there's 3 holes here, and then there's the 2 here, but you don't have to worry because we're going to be able to flip that over and see it from the bottom side. And then I'm also going to tack in or glue in these. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to glue this part, and then I'm going to lap that over, and same here, lap that over, and that's why you've got these bias cuts, is so that it can, and they should not touch the bolt hole. That should remain open. They should be right before it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to work around, do the same thing with these pieces right here, and then finally the pieces at the top. All right, so now, I have done all the pieces. They look nice. Now I'm going to cut these out. I've tried using like a drill going from behind here, but it grabs onto the leather, and then it rips your leather off from the glue. So what I found to do is, you just push your finger in there, put a really sharp X-Acto, and just cut it out. The nicest part, like with these, is that all these are going to have that black washer. You can put a washer there and a nut. So, they don't have to be perfect because the washer is going to cover up a lot. So, like with these, I just squared them out. And, so this is how it'll look from the side. Which, nice clean look. It's got the leather going for it. So, I hope this was helpful. Again, if this helped you out, consider buying me a beer, by going on Patreon and subscribing. I try to do different things with the 126 every month. Thanks.